rotting driftwood on the foreign shores, spilling out into the ocean floor, and the memories all you've left without a trace. Paralyzed with the thoughts receding, current sweeps you with the silent bleeding through the heart into the darkest place. Well, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. You see the ground as it bleeds in the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. All the secrets that you're holding, all the memories you hide, all the frail thoughts that echo in the corners of your mind, they won't even last a moment. They will soon be swept away when the ocean takes you in its arms and carries you away. You carry all your burdens on the cross around your neck. You take whatever's left that you could salvage from the wreck, and the hard past will follow you like a lost dog on the beach, nipping at your trail till you've drifted out of reach. Yeah, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. See the ground as it bleeds to the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. In a broken line horizon, in the castles made of sand, you tried to hold it in your hands, you tried to understand it. The ocean asks the questions, and it holds the answers too. It dissolves away the lies about the things you thought you knew.
Hello, my friends. 'Tis I, Dame Armiger Kali Ranya. My heart and my sword are yours. And 'tis I, Adulath Karakai II, bastard son of a real bastard. Your hearts are mine. Hello, good evening. It's me trying to be as consistent can be with my streaming schedule. I know I didn't stream last week Thursday. Mental health wasn't quite there for that one, but I have hauled myself into position for this evening's 8th chapter of Stories from Sol, the Gundog. As usual, I have doofed around with my audio setup in a couple of different ways. I was listening back to the stream from Sunday where I was reading some fan fiction, and I was like, the audio, it's so close, but I don't know. I think it's like too low on the pickup and too high on the outbound gain. We'll see if I like the way this sounds any better. If there's one thing that you can count on from Kali Ranya's stream, is that the audio will always have a new setup every time. Anyway, I am returning to my regular stream series here with this visual novel. We are in chapter 8 of it, and interestingly enough, it is the 8th stream of it that I've done. Our protagonist is battered and bruised, returning to duty after getting clobbered by a mysterious assailant. There's some kind of saboteur on board, probably. Even though the protagonist seems to be completely clueless about this fact. So we will see if she comes to her senses at all. There's also a mutiny brewing, which she also seems to be completely clueless about. I guess that's a particularly strong case of dramatic irony, because we are supposed to be the prospective character, but these glaringly obvious bad things happening are not clicking with the protagonist. So it's like we want to grab the MC by her shoulders and shake her and be like, look at what's right in front of your face! Except that that's us. That's me, supposedly. So, anyway, we are gonna see if there's any saving this awful situation. The one victory that we've had is that we've managed to capture an alien mech. Or robot mech, maybe? Some kind of enemy mech that was extremely advanced and very difficult to take down. We basically gooped it up with firefighting foam. As you release the last remnants of tension in your body, you sigh. Thankfully, it seemed that some bed rest was all that you needed to shift the accumulated aches and pains that you'd gained over the course of yesterday. Some sleep, coupled with a shower and a change of uniform, had left you feeling like a completely new person, almost as if nothing had happened at all. Oh, there we go. We just took a nap in the end, HP and MP restored, all is right with the world. Although, despite how reinvigorated you felt, there was no way you could ignore what had happened. Still, there had been no more alerts, and you'd not received any orders via your terminal. A sign, you hoped, that everything was going well. Now that you were fully recovered, you had resolved to start the investigation into who had murdered Dr. Rosarium and attacked you. But first, you'd be visiting Cassie. Is there anything I can do at the terminal? Let's see. You work your way through the terminal's menus, checking for any new orders, mail, instructions, etc. that may have come through between when you checked it after you woke up and now. Nope, nothing. Stepping out into the corridor beyond your quarters, you barely make it halfway to the four-side thoroughfare before an announcement sounds out over loudspeakers. You instantly recognize it as Vanessa, despite the slight distortion caused by the speakers. Attention all hands! I repeat, attention all hands! This is Lieutenant Vanessa Lord. All members of the crew are to assemble on the bridge for an emergency briefing. Attention all hands, I repeat, attention all hands. The announcement is made a few more times until eventually you hear the subtle pop of the speakers, indicating that Vanessa has stopped broadcasting. An emergency briefing? You quickly make through the ship towards the bridge, only stopping once you're outside the elevator. You think she's finally making her move? Could be. Is she going to murder us all when we arrive? You run your keycard through a reader and wait a little longer than usual. You can only assume that whoever is on the bridge is taking a few seconds to authenticate your ID and grant you permission to enter. Soon enough, the door opens and you step inside. As you stand alone in the elevator, listening to the dull whir of its motor, you wonder why the captain had called this meeting. If the captain had called it at all. Guess we're about to find out. Had she come up with a plan to apprehend the attacker? Had Haru and Hansen uncovered some plot whilst he'd been resting? Or had something even worse happened that the whole crew needed to be made aware of? After a short wait, the doors slide open and you step out onto the bridge. Yep, here we go. Where you'd expected to see the captain, you instead see Vanessa, sat in the captain's chair and flanked by Haru and Hansen. Lieutenant Ranya, glad to see you're so enthusiastic. Please wait there until the rest of the crew join us. What's this about, Vanessa? Where's the captain? I'll address that once everyone else is here, Lieutenant. Vanessa, this is no time for screwing around. What's going... Take it easy, Lieutenant. Ensign Rumney swaggers up to you, placing their hand on your shoulder before moving around behind you. Lieutenant Lord just needs you to be patient and wait for a few minutes until the big announcement. Your posture stiffens as you feel something blunt thrust into the small of your back. You're confident enough that unlike Cassandra's prank when you first came on board, this isn't a pen. You'd better listen to what Ensign Rumney tells you, Lieutenant. They like to be in charge and don't take kindly to people who try to get on top of them. You feel the blunt object slide around your back to your side as Haru steps around you, keeping their arm draped over your shoulders. Kriya should know. He's speaking from experience. You glance down and see that protruding out from underneath the jacket that they're always carrying around is the muzzle of a large handgun. Not an electroshock gun like yours, but a lethal weapon. Vanessa, what the hell are you? She told you to wait, man. You'd gone to step forward towards Vanessa, but Haru emphasizes their point by thrusting the gun deeper into your side. You quickly stop, letting them draw you back to where you'd stood. There we go. Good choice, Lieutenant. Just let me look after you and we'll both have a good time. Before you can respond, there's a small electronic chirp that sounds from the captain's chair. Vanessa looks down to the control panel and enters a quick series of commands. You hear the whir of the elevator, and after a few seconds the doors open, revealing Dalton, who nervously steps onto the bridge. Oh, hello, Rainicorn. There's really no such thing as late because I don't tend to announce these things very far in advance, because I never know when I'm going to be live. Really, I'm the one who's late. I hope you're doing well, though. I, heard the announcement and, Well, that's good, Cadet. Thank you for being so prompt. Do me a favor and stand over there by the lieutenant, would you? Oh, yes, ma'am, will do. As the cadet makes his way over to your side, you look at Lieutenant Lord, staring at her with a silent fury. You do tend to exist this time of year? Are there other times of a year that you don't? All you get as a response is a sly grin. As much as you'd love to wipe that look from her face, you know that Hansen would be on top of you the moment you tried to disarm Haru. You couldn't rely on Dalton to remain calm in that kind of situation either. There was a good chance that he would get caught in any crossfire. Instead, you just remain silent. Oh, now that we've got someone in chat, how's my audio tonight? I did some tinkering as always. It's good you're feeling better, Lieutenant. I was really worried when I heard about what happened to you in the sick bay. Thanks, Dalton. With her smirk looking increasingly sinister. Okay, good enough. I will give it a listen back. I want to compare this setup versus the one that I had Sunday morning. See which of them I prefer. I felt like the one on Sunday was close, but there was a little bit of a weird tinge to it that I didn't care for. She shakes her head at you, causing you to stop your response midway through. Ma'am? You haven't had much time to resent Vanessa's subtle malice when you hear the same electronic chirp as earlier. After Vanessa repeats the previous process, Dylan soon appears. Wow, great atmosphere in here, huh? Dylan looks to all of you, but after receiving no response, he brings his headphones up over his ears and reaches into his jacket pocket. You hear the click of his cassette player and watch enviously as he drifts off into his music. It doesn't take long after that for the chief to arrive. Much like Dylan, she takes stock of the silence and doesn't interrupt it, instead standing silently by one of the control panels. You all stand in this awkward silence with no one either daring or willing to break the quiet that fills the bridge. Hello, Rain. You're here just in time for the mutiny. Although you notice a few furtive glances from the chief as she surveys the room, and some looks shared between Haru and Hansen as they keep the rest of the crew under close surveillance, everyone remains relatively still. Just ran a 1-player, 4-player commander game. Ended with a really close finish. Orzhov Vampires won at 2 life left, yeah. So you were goldfishing? You were just like playing all the players yourself? Leaning back into the chair and crossing her legs, Vanessa positions her elbow on one of the armrests and rests her head on her hand. Don't worry, everyone. We're just waiting for the captain to arrive, and then things can begin. There's a round of uncomfortable looks that pass between Dylan, the chief, and Dalton. Having trouble getting the whole pod together? After a moment, the chief steps forward to say something. Lieutenant Lord, water? Wait for the captain to get here, Chief. It'll all make sense then. You can see the chief mull over this response, and although it takes a few seconds, she steps back, taking her previous position by the control panels. The silence on the bridge, which had clearly never been designed to hold this many people at once, continues to drag on until it's eventually broken by the now familiar chirp of an access request. And here she is now. Lieutenant Lord, what are you doing calling an unauthorized all-hands? And what are you doing in the captain's seat? The level of tension that was already present suddenly explodes, suspense saturating the air. You feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up as the realization of what Vanessa is planning hits you. The players have known for several hours. But you, the protagonist, it's just finally settling in. Just like the chief, Dalton, and Dylan, your eyes flick from the captain to Vanessa. Well, it is my seat after all. What did you just say? Striding forward with intensity and purpose, the captain raises her right hand across her body and swings to strike Vanessa. Careful, Bartimeus. You don't want to get written up for striking a superior officer, do you? At the last moment, Hanson's arm had reached out, viper quick, and he'd grabbed the captain by the wrist before she could bring the back of her hand down on Vanessa. Kreese, you release me immediately. Kreese, you idiot, you! So unexpected, this entire situation. If only we had some sort of security officer that could have spotted and reported this, right? Yeah. Hey. How about everyone calms down for a moment, huh? Stepping away from you, Haru reveals the handgun they'd been hiding under their jacket and waves it around lazily before walking over to stand on the opposite side of Vanessa from Hanson. Now that we all understand who's in charge here. Yeah, unfortunately, the security officer is a rock-headed shonen protagonist. This is mutiny. Yanking her arm back from Hanson, the captain turns to face you whilst pointing at Vanessa. Lieutenant Ranya, detain these three immediately. You move your hand towards your holstered electroshock weapon, but find yourself hesitating for a brief instant. Fuck it. I'm not... Yeah. I haven't done my job up until now. I'm gonna try to do my job here, even if it gets me shot. You grab your weapon, but before you've drawn it halfway out of the holster, both Haru and Hanson are pointing their guns right at you. Admirable, Lieutenant, but you're not that stupid, are you? Don't worry, I know you're just following orders like any good member of the JCF would, so I won't hold it against you. If you holster that weapon right now... You glance from Vanessa to Hanson and Haru, whose weapons are both trained on you. Although Haru's expression is hard to read due to their shades, you can see a steely coolness in Hanson's eyes, telling you that he'd have no hesitation to pull the trigger at Vanessa's order. Knowing that you wouldn't be able to draw your weapon before you'd be gunned down, and that the two pilots are clearly willing to do so, you release your whip grip on the weapon and slowly raise your hands. Good choice. I won't stand for this. All of you are... Grease. Yes, ma'am. Within the blink of an eye, Hanson steps up to the captain, balls his hand into a fist, and swiftly strikes her in the stomach, causing her to double over. Grease. Slow down, Lieutenant. The captain staggers backwards, clutching at her stomach before falling to her knees, retching in pain. Stepping towards the captain, Hanson cracks his knuckles. Kreese, that's enough. Damn it, Kreese, stop. That'll be enough, Hanson Kreese. I'm sure she's willing to listen now. Unless anyone else has any other objections. Well, that's what I thought. Uncrossing her legs and rising from the captain's chair, Vanessa takes on a formal posture and walks into the middle of the bridge. I, Lieutenant Vanessa Lord, as of 1700 Javian Standard Time, April 24th, planetary calendar 214, in accordance with the Jovian Colony Fleet Convention, Section 16, Article 7, announce myself the new captain of the JFS Gundog. I justify my announcement through Section 16, Article 9, on the grounds that neither the captain nor her second-in-command are fit for duty based on medical circumstances. As we don't currently have a doctor on board, I am forced to make this assessment based on my own discretion. In addition to this, under Jovian Colony Fleet Convention Section 16, Article 12, I am limiting both the previous captain and the lieutenant commander to their quarters on the suspicion of treason. Lord, what the hell are you? You spring forward to grab Vanessa, your hand already on your electroshock weapon. But before you can get to her, you're immediately stopped by Haru, whose pistol is crammed deep into your stomach. There's only so many times I'm gonna tell you to stay cool, Lieutenant. Looking past Haru and a smug Vanessa, you can see that Hansen has similarly leveled his gun at the Chief and Dylan, both of whom step backwards. If you'd care to let me explain, we are currently in the middle of a situation that goes beyond negligence and incapability. Lieutenant Lord. The captain hisses, staggering to her feet with one arm over her stomach. You stop this now, or... With a slap that echoes around the bridge, Vanessa sends the captain, who is still unsteady on her feet, reeling. You'd not be too worried about this mutiny, seeing the usual level of competence on the Gundog. The mutineers will drive the ship into an asteroid before the next day's out. Yeah. As she falls back to the floor, Dalton moves to help her, but is quickly blocked by Haru. As I was saying, it's clear that both Meredith Bartomuse and Cassandra Quinn are traitors. You expect me to believe that the captain and her second-in-command are both incapacitated exactly when their clearance is needed to maintain ship operations? And that somehow an unknown craft, clearly made by our enemies, manages to make its way into our hangar, having already destroyed the O'Brien from within and killing its crew? Don't tell me this is a coincidence. It's clearly treachery. Holy hell, this is the flimsiest excuse. I mean, she couldn't have gone for the actual stuff the captain was doing, like the whole drinking on the job thing? Sorry about that. Dog was getting into trouble there. I have sealed off the source of trouble. He is very disappointed that he can no longer get into the office recycling, I'm sure. The Gundog and the O'Brien are obviously both being offered up as test data for a new enemy weapon, and Bartomuse and Quinn are the traitors who sold us out. Why else would they keep us from reactivating the Gundog? How else could that craft have gotten on board without help? Why would Quinn be mysteriously out of sight when that happened? So how many people need to have medical emergencies until we can take over as captain? I think it's just Vanessa. Though, I guess the people with guns do present some issue with that. And then Dr. Rosarium ends up dead when she's in his care? What did he find out? Did she decide he knew too much? Not only is Quinn a traitor, she's a murderer too. Lord, that's insane. How the hell could... You want to be careful, Lieutenant. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. since you were the one that brought the gun dog back online and were with Ensign Kreese during that attack. But your close association with Lieutenant Commander Quinn means that I've had my eyes on you for a while, and I'm by no means confident that you're nothing to do with this. After all, Ensign Kreese didn't see anyone else in the sickbay after the doctor's murder, except for you and Quinn. How could I have... Very suspicious. Still, for now it seems like I can trust you. So, as per Section 16, Article 12, I am announcing that all crew present, with the exception of Maris Bartolmeus, have the choice as to whether they wish to continue to serve under my rightfully mandated authority, or if they'd like to maintain their allegiance to a traitor and be treated as co-conspirators when we get back to Europa Colony. An agonizing silence fills the room as Vanessa stands proudly amongst the crew who shift nervously. Both Hansen and Haru keep their guns trained on the crew on each side of the room, compounding the uneasy quiet. Don't worry, I'll be happy to take any lack of response as an affirmative. Oh my god, this story is so weirdly written. Okay, as the silence drags on, it's clear that none of the crew are on board with the idea, but at the same time it's obvious that none of them have enough loyalty to the captain to justify the risk of being charged with treachery. What the hell? Okay, no, there is no way that when this actual story of what happened here gets out, that anyone who is complying at gunpoint is going to... This doesn't have anything to do with loyalty to the captain or not. This is like the clearest cut case of coercion one has ever seen. For you, though, this isn't about the captain, it's about Cassie. Lord, would you think about what you're doing? Taking medical command is one thing, but accusing the captain and Cassie of treason is... This sounds an awful lot like a no, Lieutenant. You grit your teeth and breathe in. What are you gonna do? Shoot me? It is a no. There's no way I'd join in with your scheme. This is nothing but your personal grudge. You saw a chance and you took it. There's no way the JCF will take your side on this. That's a shame, Lieutenant. I really thought you had more sense than that. But I suppose this is no surprise. At least it resolves matters. Kreese? Nothing personal, Ranya. Orders are orders. Shifting his weapon's focus from the Chief and Dalton to you, Hansen walks across the room, stopping only to sweep an arm out from underneath the slowly recovering captain, who is again attempting to return to her feet, sending her back to the floor. Make life easy for both of us, huh, Lieutenant? Turning on her heels, Vanessa returns to the captain's chair, sitting down with a smug expression on her face. Chief Engineer Cathays, Cadet Grange, I want those engines online now. As soon as they're operational, we'll be heading back to Europa Colony. Warrant Officer Dees, I want you back in fire control and to remain on high alert. We're going to assume that we're in enemy territory, and I want you on the lookout for any hostile activity. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What's that, Chief Engineer Cathays? Yes, Captain. You're all dismissed. With that, the 3 crew members quickly depart from the bridge in a single elevator, leaving you with Vanessa, the 2 pilots, and the captain. I suppose I could have gone with fine and tried to play along for a bit and then mount a counterinsurgency with the chief and Dalton or something, but... Ensign Rumney, you take care of Ms. Bartomuse. They're not even gonna make it a few meters in space.
Sure thing, Captain.
Shoving their gun in the back of their waistband, Haru walks over to the captain and lackadaisically delivers a kick into the captain's stomach, causing her to heave and curl into a fetal position.
Come on, Bartomuse, let's get going.
Dragging the captain upright, Haru holds on to her until she's able to stand, shoving her towards the elevator as soon as she can stagger forwards. Once they're both on the elevator, the pilot turns to you, looking over the top of their shades as the doors slide closed.
You made a bad choice, Ranya.
As soon as the doors of the elevator containing Haru and the captain are closed, the doors on the other open, and you feel the muzzle of Hansen's gun as it's thrust into your back.
One more thing.
Keeping his gun firmly pressed into the small of your back, Hansen leans around to your side and draws your electroshock weapon from its holster. Stepping back, he slides your weapon into a pocket within his jacket, before gripping his gun with both hands and returning its muzzle to the small of your back.
Don't want you getting any ideas.
Take her away, Ensign.
Yes, ma'am.
Hansen shoves his gun harder into your back, and you reluctantly comply, walking across the bridge and into the waiting elevator. Once in, you turn around. Hansen keeps his gun trained on you, and behind him, you can see Vanessa sneering at you from the captain's chair. It's really a shame, Lieutenant. I'd had such high hopes for you. Before you're able to tell Vanessa what you'd hoped for her, the doors slide closed and you're left in silence with Hansen. So 2 options, either the justice system is incompetent, or these guys really did not realize that anyone on board saying anything will result in a full investigation. Yeah, I don't... I think you're right, that there's no one competent on this ship. The mutineers aren't even being all that competent at mutineering. I don't know, maybe they plan to just punt us all out the airlock, but, yeah, I don't know. Once you arrive in the central hub, you're unceremoniously shunted at gunpoint through the ship towards your quarters. Once outside, Hansen gestures towards the terminal at the side of the door. Understanding his instruction, you take out your keycard, run it through the reader, and enter your security code. As soon as the door opens, Hansen snatches the card out of your hand and shoves you into the room, causing you to stagger your way inside. Leaning nonchalantly against the door frame, his boot positioned to stop the door from closing automatically, Hansen looks at you wordlessly. Yeah, they're 3 people. He remains silent for a few short seconds with a ruminative expression on his face, until you manage to stand back up and turn to face him. Once you've regained your composure, he straightens up and angles the gun towards you.
You know, Ranya, I was beginning to come around on you.
What's that supposed to mean? Hansen smirks.
The stuff you've done,
You're actually kind of alright.
you might not be the coward you were back on the Kalika anymore.
Huh, thanks. Good to know I've changed your mind.
Hey, don't get too ahead of yourself, Ranya. You might not be a coward, but you're still an idiot. You should have gone with the rest of the crew and sided with Lord. Now you, Bartomuse, and your girlfriend are gonna get pulled up on treason.
There's no way the JCF's going to believe her. You, Lord, Rumney, you're all going to get court-martialed for mutiny.
I don't know about that, Ranya. Lord's got some pretty serious evidence. She's got it all figured out. this is how it ends, Lieutenant. You going down for some third-rate captain and your airhead girlfriend. Hope it's worth it. It's a shame. I was kind of looking forward to grabbing a drink with you and Romney back on Europa. Whatever. We'll pour one out for you. Oh, thanks. Hey, don't worry about it. I'll get comfy, Lieutenant. You're gonna have a dull trip back to Europa. As Hansen turns to walk away, you leap towards him, aiming to get your hand in the way of the door to prevent it closing. Before you can make it to the door, Hansen pivots and once again levels the gun at you. You stop inches away from the door. Hansen, you prick! You yell, banging your fist on the door. You can't do this! With your head in your hands, you turn back away from the door and sit down on your bunk. Your mind racing as you think about Vanessa's mutiny, the prospect of getting court-martialed, and what might happen to Cassie. You're so angry that you can barely think straight. Different thoughts rush through your mind, but you can't focus on one for long until it's replaced by another and your mind becomes a roiling storm of emotion. Eventually, after much pacing, swearing, and the occasional kick delivered to the now stubbornly shut door, you manage to calm down enough to begin formulating a plan. She's not going to get away with this. April 24th, Planetary Calendar 214. Following the murder of Dr. Rosarium, Lieutenant Lord takes command of the JFS Gundog, on the grounds that both the captain and her second-in-command are unfit for duty. As her first act, Captain Lord has Maris Bartermuse and Lieutenant Commander Quinn confined to their quarters on suspicion of treason. The ship's security officer, Lieutenant Ranya, is also confined to her quarters after refusing to follow the new chain of command. Jovian Space, Lieutenant Ranya's quarters, the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. Yeah, if they return to Europa colony with only 3 people, it'll also be an investigation. Yeah, this is just a bad idea from start to finish, no matter what they do with it. Really, the way to get... yeah, and thinking back over it, even if they had pursued the, drunkenness angle, that was an issue that the fleet already knew about. They stripped the captain of her admiralty for it, and they assigned her to the Gundog as a punishment. So it's not like that's gonna really be, cause for them taking her side over the captain's. Nobody on this ship thinks more than 2 seconds into the future, I think. You wince and draw your hand back from the wall panel next to your bunk. After spending half an hour unsuccessfully trying to find the catch to remove the panel, all you manage to do is snag your nail on an edge and tear it. Aw, that's a shame. I just painted my nails yesterday. All sparkly now. With a loud exhalation, you move from your bed to the computer terminal on the other side of the room. You idly hit a few keys, but the only response you get is the screen displaying the same familiar text as the last few times you tried it. Access denied, insufficient authority. Only hope they have is, since the Gundog is already the ship of misfits, the higher-ups simply don't care what happens on it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, maybe their best bet is to, joyride and go AWOL, become pirates. If there's some place they could dock that wouldn't immediately, seize them to hand them over. What color? Let's see. What's the brand? It's called Velvet Rope by... Oh, why am I blanking on it? It's not Mooncat, it's the other one that Cirque, by Cirque. And it's a kind of a pale red with orange sparkle.
kind of looks, it's almost brassy in total. As easy as it was to hate her, you had to give Vanessa credit. Her machinations had clearly been well thought through. What? In what universe? Nothing had been missed when it came to making sure you'd remain imprisoned. Well, okay, they managed to lock a room successfully. Sure. You hadn't noticed it when you'd awoken earlier, but someone must have gone through your quarters whilst you were unconscious. Small items like your nail scissors and metal bookmark had been taken, leaving you with nothing to pry open the access panels. Sitting down on the chair in front of the terminal, you wondered how long she'd been planning this and how much she'd accounted for. Yeah, don't forget, our protagonist is also part of the crew, is also, was assigned here. Yeah, maybe the whole thing about Quinn engineering her transfer was only part of the story. Maybe Quinn suggested the transfer and the higher-ups in the fleet are like, oh yeah, and get this absolute doofus in somewhere she can do less harm. Placing your elbows on the keyboard and your head in your hands, you sigh again. You'd gone through every trick you'd learned in your time as a security officer, and none of them were helping you get out of here. Leaning back and looking at your watch, you see it's been nearly 6 hours since you'd been imprisoned. You'd felt the rumble of the Gundog's engines coming back to life about 3 hours ago. It would only be a matter of days now until you arrived back at Europa Colony. Waiting for you there, if Vanessa was successful, was a trial for treachery. You put your head in your hands again at the thought. There was only one outcome for a guilty verdict on that charge. Execution. Ugh. Leaning back in the chair, you stare listlessly at the ceiling. You're questioning the backstory, the coward thingy. Did our machine misfunction because of something we did wrong? Not the way that it was portrayed, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe our protagonist blamed it on the mechanic who serviced the mech, but really it was she pushed the wrong button or something. There had to be something you could do. Okay, now we have control of our character again. We still have Cassie's keycard and a chocolate bar. Okay, let's see. You type in a few commands and attempt to navigate further into the terminal's interface, but every action you carry out is met with the same response. Yeah, I thought so. You kneel down by the storage drawers set in the frame underneath your bunk and push on one, causing the drawer to spring open and slide towards you. Pulling it as far out as it will go, you shove your possessions to either side and lean in to get a view of the inside. Rats. As you'd suspected, the underside of your bed is sealed off with more metal paneling, and the drawer is designed to catch on the inner framework before it slides all the way out. With the main material in its construction being steel and everything being welded together, you know you've got no chance of pulling the drawer out and crawling through. Scratch that idea. My Tales of the Cosmic Champions books. I'm not going anywhere, so I could always take a break. Let's see, where was I? Ah yes, Fleet Commander Wong has been imprisoned by his own side because... You know what? I don't feel much like reading, actually. Oops. You spend a few moments examining the control pad next to the door. Why would they not take that keycard off us? Oh, yeah. Tapping on the casing, pressing buttons, and investigating the wiring that runs out from underneath it before settling on your course of action. Hey! Hey, Rumney, you gonna let me out or what? Hey, Rumney, can you hear me? Let me out.
Shut up, Ranya.
Yeah, that went as well as I expected. Let's give this one more go. You clamber up onto your bed and once again run your fingertips around the edge of the panel, trying to find any give or sign of a catch that you can use to remove the panel. Unlike the cover for the emergency mechanism in the airlock, this panel is clearly designed not to be removed using bare hands. Without a tool, there's no way of getting this panel off. Great. Sighing, you run your hands through your hair, wondering if there's anything left for you to try. You're just about to make another attempt at levering the panel next to your bunk off the wall when someone knocks loudly on the door.
Step back from the door, Ranya.
What do you want, Rumney?
Just shut up and do it.
With a sigh, you move back to the far side of your quarters.
You moved?
Yeah.
No, you just stay there, Ranya.
You roll your eyes. What did they think you were going to do?
You're lucky the captain's so generous. You get room service.
As Haru steps back, Dylan comes around the corner carrying a tray of food from the vendor in the mess hall.
Hey, Lieutenant, how's it? Whoa, let's chat there, Dees. Tray on the ground and walk away. Yeah, chill out, Rumney, whatever.
Muttering under his breath, Dylan lays the tray on the ground halfway between you and the door, and walks out of the room with Haru keeping their gun trained on you the entire time. Looking down at the tray, you see it's a fairly standard meal. Burger, fries, and a soda from one of the vending machines. You had to assume that Dylan had chosen this for you, as you couldn't imagine either of the pilots being so generous.
Now stay where you are.
With their free hand, Haru reaches for the control panel on the opposite side of the door. Within a second, the door slides shut and you hear the click of its lock. You sigh to yourself. You weren't happy about the situation you're in, but at least they're feeding you. You take the meal tray over to the terminal and sit down on the chair, balancing your food on the keyboard in order to use it as a makeshift table. At least Vanessa was feeding you. You'd been starting to worry that you'd be left locked in your quarters the entire journey back to Europa Colony, with no one bothering to check in on you. After picking at a few fries, you raise the burger to your mouth and bite down. Wah! What the hell? You place the burger back on the tray and run your tongue over your teeth. You'd bitten down on something hard. Pulling back the top of the bun to investigate, you find an entirely unexpected ingredient. Ha! Dylan! Yes! Resting between the imitation lettuce and beef is a small pocket screwdriver, just short enough to be hidden within the burger. Had to think of classic point-and-click Edna and Hari, the breakout. Maybe we can ask for a helpful bunny friend. Yeah, this is a very, very classic scenario. The whole, slipping a weapon or tool into the prison in the food tray, yeah. Grabbing it with a napkin, you inspect it. Not only is it small enough to wedge between the gaps in the panels that make up the ship's ceilings, walls, and floors, but it's also got the right size head to unscrew any fixtures you may come across. Oh, this is perfect. You whisper to yourself. You got a screwdriver. You stand up to put it to use, but your stomach immediately roars in protest. Okay, first things first, I guess. You place the screwdriver in your pocket and pick the burger back up, quickly devouring both it and the fries. Alright, now it's time. Alright, let's see. Taking the screwdriver out of your pocket, you work it into the small gap between the panel and the surrounding wall. You slowly run it along this parting for a few inches until you feel it catch on something. Following some careful movements, you hear the sound of a latch undoing. That's one. You repeat this action a few more times along different parts of the panel. Eventually, the final latch is undone and the whole thing falls towards you. Nice, let's go. You carefully lower the panel off your bed and place it on the floor, so as not to alert Haru, before returning to investigate what you'd revealed. Damn it. You cuss under your breath. Where you'd hoped to see a large space that you could crawl into, you were instead met with a solid steel structural wall, with only a few inches of space between it and where the panel had been affixed. You grip the screwdriver tighter and suppress the urge to pound your fist against the wall in frustration. You'd been so close. Despite a follow-up examination, there was no way you could get into the newly revealed space. Not that it looked like it led anywhere anyway. With a deep sigh, you step off the bed. It looked like you'd have to find another way out of here. Okay, what about the drawers? Taking out the screwdriver, you trace it along every seam and edge within the drawer, and what little of the underside of your bunk you can access. Unfortunately, you realize everything's welded together, leaving you nothing that you could disassemble. There was no way you were taking this apart with just a screwdriver. You assume Daedalic classic point-and-click adventures aren't as internationally popular. Yeah, I'm definitely less familiar with Daedalic or Daedalus than I am with like Sierra. Sierra was all the big point-and-click stuff in the States. There was a little bit of what was the studio? LucasArts. Lucas Games did some too. And whoever the ones that did Day of the Tentacle and that. Oh, Gollum was them? What are you doing, dog? You approach the terminal, screwdriver in hand, and pause for a moment. Although you can see the screws that fix its external casing in place, you struggle to think of any good that might be done by taking it apart. I'm just gonna leave this alone for now. They don't develop anymore, they're a pure publisher. Weren't they the people that did Old XCOM? Old XCOM was... It was published by Microprose. I forget who the studio was called. Oh, no. So Edna and Harvey was supposed to have a part 3, but that's not gonna happen. Oh. Even if I could get the door open, Haru's on the other side. Yeah. Turning your attention to the top end of your bunk, you take a look at the panel that sits at the back of the shelf where you keep all your books. The only noticeable feature is your room's light switch. If there's a switch, then there must be wires that lead somewhere. If there's wires, it'd stand to reason that someone might need to access them. Let's take a look. You raise your screwdriver tentatively. Unable to find any noticeable seams around the panel, you turn it towards the switch, the only part that may give you some access. Okay, so I'll just... You pull the screwdriver back and tumble onto the bed. the snapping and crackling noise that had accompanied the strobing lights having taken you completely by surprise. Alright, let's try something else. Kinda running out of options, though. Deponia. Yes, I'm vaguely familiar. I know I've seen them in the shop, or maybe my wife has them in her Steam library or something. Oh, okay, now we can activate this on the floor, okay. Let's see how good Cassie's knowledge of illicit ship-based activities is. Who am I kidding? Knowing her, if there's a way to break a rule without getting caught, she knows it. You inspect the floor panel below you, finding where it meets another panel and kneeling down to run your hands over where there's a visible gap between the two. You take the screwdriver from your pocket and slide it into the gap in the seams between floor panels. Floor panels! You slowly begin to slide it along the seam, and it's only a few seconds before you feel it catch on something. Using your knowledge of how the catches work from the wall panel you've removed, you're easily able to undo each one you run into, the panel noticeably lifting away from the floor with each catch that's released. Tempted to gift the Deponia games to me? They didn't look like something that I would stream, but yeah, I would check it out. I mean, the main artwork of the first one is a very, scruffy hero saving the princess kind of thing, which is not really my jam. But I'm sure there's more to it than that. And one, I do appreciate, just giving a little bit of nod to, or appreciation where due to the lost art of point-and-click adventure. After a few minutes of work, you undo the last catch. Despite its unwieldy size, you're able to shift the panel out of its original position without creating much noise, revealing a 3-foot drop into a small tunnel that disappears into darkness in both directions. You prefer Edna and Harvey? I don't actually know Edna and Harvey at all. Whenever you say Edna and Harvey, I keep thinking Sam and Max. Which is Lucas, I think. Wiping the sweat from your brow, you dust off your hands as you look over the passageway you've revealed. As you stand above the entrance that you've just revealed, you look around your quarters one more time. Let's see, is there anything else I need to do in here? Or should I get going? Once I go, there's no coming back. I cannot imagine what else there could possibly be to do in here. You gaze into the darkness that lies ahead of you. After a few moments of thought, your mind is made up. It's time to go. To prepare for your escape, you return the panel that you removed from the wall to its original position, making sure that all the catches are reconnected to the mounting points. Oh, it wasn't Gollum, it was Julian Gollop. Haven't heard of that one at all. Gollum, at least I heard of as a notoriously bad game. Then you prepare to do the same for the floor panel, sliding it into a position where you'll be able to replace it once you're in the crawlway. Once it's in place, you lower yourself down into the space underneath the floor. Kneel down and slowly drag the panel over the opening above you. Thank you, Rhinocorn. It takes you a few attempts to get it into the correct position, but eventually you have it and all the mounts slide neatly back into the catches that secured it in place. Now in absolute darkness, you drop to your knees and reach out with your one hand, grabbing at the darkness. You've got no idea what lies ahead, but you begin to crawl forward. The absolute darkness of the crawlway leaves you disoriented as you fumble your way forwards. Every now and again you hit a corner, a drop, or a rise that adjusts your trajectory. Hearing nothing but the gentle hum of the ship's systems or your own awkward shuffling, and unable to make out anything except for a dry, musty scent that has replaced the sterile smell that permeates the gun dog, you quickly lose your sense of distance and location. With nowhere to go but onwards, you continue slowly. You have no idea how long it's taken you, but you realize that you're able to distinguish the vague features of your surroundings. Sharp edges are now ever so slightly visible, and the seams and bolts that make up the inside of the crawlways have faded into view. Renewed by the potential that light coming from somewhere must mean there's an opening leading into some accessible part of the ship up ahead, you speed up, taking advantage of your restored vision to make your way forward without incident. You turn a corner and are met with a shaft of light that's broken up by the slow and lazy rotation of an overhead fan. Finally. As you continue toward the light, you also see that your singular path is now divided, with new routes branching off in different directions, albeit with no indication of where they might lead. You look up to see the source of the light and shield your eyes as it dazzles you. Squinting, you're able to make out that whatever is illuminating the area of the crawlways you found yourself in sits on the other side of a large spinning fan blade, roughly 15 feet above you. Wonder where that is. Well, a dull rumble, a familiar aroma, complete silence, or the sound of machinery. Familiar aroma has to be mess hall. Machinery is going to be engineering. Well, yeah, either dull rumble or sound of machinery, or it can be somewhere in the engineering area. Complete silence might be like the sick bay, maybe. I'm gonna go towards sound of machinery for a couple of reasons. One, the noise might mask what we're up to, and two, if it is engineering, then the chief might be sympathetic and ready to help. As you come level with the crawlway that branches off to your left, you notice almost imperceptible sounds echoing off in the distance. You hold your breath and angle your ear towards the darkness that they come from and focus, trying to identify them. It takes you some time to be able to distinguish the faint sounds properly from the general thrum of the Gundog's systems, but as you concentrate, you realize you can make out the whir of motors, the sound of metal colliding with metal, and tools being used. It's too quiet to be engineering, which must mean that this way leads to the hangar, presumably then. Moving away from the illuminated nexus between the various crawlways, you follow another twisting path of identical, indistinguishable tunnels, and it doesn't take long for you to find yourself in total darkness once again. Unlike your journey from your quarters to the lit segment you'd just taken a break at, you were confident of where you were heading as the previously muffled sounds were growing louder with every corner you turned. Mutiny 2, the retaking of power. The erratic noises of different pieces of machinery and equipment punctuate your journey with their irregular rhythm. Unlike the constant background noise of the engineering department, this was the sound of someone hard at work. As you continue to move through the twisting shaft, you notice a strange sense of lightness to your movements, which you initially dismissed as numbness from the time spent hunched over and crawling. It isn't until you push against the floor with one leg and inadvertently send yourself gently gliding forwards that you realize you're leaving the area under the influence of the ship's gravity net. You hold your arms out in front of you to ensure you don't slam face first into the end of the current length of tunnel, thankful that you hadn't pushed with much force when you feel cool steel on your palms. Feeling around to determine the direction you'd be heading in next, you eventually identify a turn to the right and carefully propel yourself off the crawlway wall. Soon enough you manage to adapt to this method of movement, propelling yourself by pushing off the tunnel walls or pulling yourself along the occasional pipe or protrusion. Eventually, you turn a corner, and for the first time since you'd started down this path, you see the faint glow of light. Moving towards it, you realize that it's the outline of a hatch built into one of the walls. Now the sounds are almost as loud as if you were in the room with the machinery. You can clearly make out the dull thrum of a gantry crane moving from one end of its rail to the other, interrupted by the irregular sound of an impact driver. Once you make your way over to the hatch, you grasp its faintly illuminated handle and twist. As you feel the mechanism disengage, you slowly push it open and peer through the gap. As you'd expected, the noises had guided you to the hangar, which you take your time to carefully survey, looking out for Hansen, Haru, or any other member of the crew that you didn't want to run into. Aside from Dalton, who is hard at work on Hansen's Juno and completely unaware of your presence, you don't see anyone. Alright, let's go. Alright, let's see if Dalton is willing to help us out. You perform another quick scan of the hangar to ensure that it's still just you and the cadet who are around, before kicking off a nearby wall towards Dalton. You can tell he is completely absorbed in his work, and it isn't until you lay your hand on his shoulder that he has any idea there's someone in the hangar with him. Ah, Chief! I was just finishing off the final recoupling of the new bell nozzles to the directional... Startled, Dalton swivels to face you, the look of terror on his face instantly replaced with one of pure confusion. Oh, it's you, Lieutenant. Wait! What are you doing out of your quarters? You're supposed to be locked up until we get back to Europa. They said you're a traitor. Is this a breakout? You've come to take me out. It's part of your conspiracy. Oh no, help! In his panic, Dalton shoves you away from him, then turns and scrambles away using whatever purchase he can find on the armored frame's surface. Once out of your reach, he kicks off the machine. Fortunately for you, he doesn't make solid contact, his feet instead catching it at an awkward angle, which sends him drifting away slowly despite his writhing and thrashing. Dalton, shut up and get back here! You launch yourself after him and manage to grab his ankle, anchoring yourself to the front of the Juno with your free hand before he's too far away. Despite his loud protestations and best attempts to free himself, you drag the cadet back toward the Juno. Yeah, there is a Chubos-esque genre convention in place here, which is that no one on the crew may do the reasonable thing first try. Help! Help! I'm gonna be... As he continues to thrash around, it takes most of your strength to pin Dalton to the armored frame, a challenge that is made all the more difficult by the lack of gravity. Using your legs to brace yourself on a nearby safety rail, you pin him with one arm and cover his mouth with the other, making sure that he isn't going anywhere or alerting anyone. Dalton, please calm down. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to... Cadet, get a hold of yourself. I'm not here to hurt you. That's right. Just take it easy. I'm going to let go of you, okay? I just want to talk. Apprehensively, you slowly release your grip on Dalton and remove your hand from his mouth. He slumps into the microgravity, remaining in place. Well, Lieutenant, you shouldn't be out here. They said that you were a co-conspirator with Commander Quinn and the captain, that you had to be. Who said that, Dalton? I mean, Captain Lord and the ensign said. And do you really believe them? Well, that's, but she said... You sigh with exasperation, holding up both of your hands to stop Dalton before he spirals back into an anxious ramble. If I was a traitor to this ship, Do you think I'd have done everything I've done to make sure everyone has stayed safe? Like getting the power back online, securing that machine. Look, I'm sorry I scared you, Cadet, but this is really important. Lieutenant Lord is lying about everything. Captain Bartermuse and Commander Quinn have nothing to do with what's been happening, and there's no way that Quinn could have killed the doctor. That's why I'm here. I need your help.
Hey!
You hear Ensign Rumney's call echo out across the hangar. Fortunately, the two of you are behind the Juno and can't be seen from the entrance. Taking advantage of this, you shunt Dalton towards them, using him as a distraction as you slip into the Juno's open cockpit and out of sight. For a moment, you consider closing the hatch, but you realize that there's no way Haru would miss that happening, and with Dalton floating towards them, they'd instantly get suspicious. Instead, you get as far back into the cockpit as you can and freeze.
Whoa, jeez, kid, be careful. What were you doing floating around like that? What's with the screaming? Something happening here?
I was just,
Just what? What's going on here, huh?
Holding your breath and staying as still as possible, your grip tightens onto the back of the seat. All you can do is hope that Dalton doesn't give you away. Well, it was because
Kid, spit it out. Is there something wrong with the AF?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. Nothing. It's all fine. It's just...
Seriously, what have you done? Do I need to check it out?
You hold your breath and grit your teeth. The sound of what you had to presume was Haru knocking on the frame's armor rings through the cockpit. It was nothing. I just got the impact driver caught on my jumpsuit and then it started going because I accidentally hit the trigger and everything started bunching up and I couldn't stop it because...
Alright, kid, okay. Take it easy.
Yes, Ensign.
You all good?
Yes, Ensign, thank you. I got it off by...
Okay, cool, got it. Just stay calm next time, alright?
Yes, Ensign, I will. Sorry.
Alright, well, that's it.
Yes, Ensign, it is. Nothing to worry about.
Take it easy, kid.
You remain still within the tense silence, doing your best not to move, trying as hard as you can not to even breathe. As far as you could tell, Haru had left, but you have no way of knowing for sure. Remaining motionless, you stay hidden in the cockpit until... Lieutenant, it's safe to come out now. You feel a little guilty for your paranoia, but wanting to make sure you're ready for anything, you assume Ensign Rumney is waiting in ambush and spring out of the cockpit. Fortunately, all you're met with is a still hangar and a fretful Cadet Grange. Sorry about that, Lieutenant. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. I just... Looking around to make certain that you're alone with Dalton once again, it's a few seconds before you respond. Hey, don't worry about it, Cadet. Thank you for covering for me there. Yeah, no problem. But what do you want me for? Why are you here? I didn't want to believe what they said about you and the captain and the commander, but after they locked you up, I heard Ensign Kreese say that... Dalton, calm down. Hey, it's okay. Sorry. You take a deep breath and close your eyes, sighing before you begin. Something about asking the cadet for his help seemed wrong. Although he was working on a JCF ship, he was basically still just a kid. Sorry, got a text from my wife letting me know that she's on her way home from work. So I will wrap up soonish, within probably 15 minutes. But you knew that he had the technical skills you needed. I'm here for your help, Dalton. If I can't get control of the ship back from Lieutenant Lord, then both the captain and Commander Quinn are going to get executed as traitors. Because... reasons. I don't think that anyone even back on Europa is competent in the slightest. It's just a Jovian thing. I can't do it alone. I need the help of someone who knows all the systems on the ship, and that's you.
You want my help?
That's right. You know your way around the ship almost as well as the chief. You could really help me out here, Cadet. As you talk, Dalton begins to fidget with his gloves, glancing around nervously as he does.
I've just got to do something over there quickly.
Once again, you reach out to grab him, but this time Dalton manages to evade you. His feet firmly plant on the Juno, and he propels himself towards the opposite side of the hangar, disappearing behind some of the remaining storage crates. Damn it, Dalton. Dalton's disappeared in there somewhere. I should go and find him. Congratulations, Dalton. We declare you a co-conspirator. You're in it now. You launch yourself from the armored frame towards the far side of the hangar, stopping yourself on the first storage crate you arrive at. You quickly glance over the mess of containers but aren't able to spot the young engineer. Quickly but quietly you begin moving from crate to crate, looking out for any sign of the cadet amongst the disorganization. As you pass by an inconspicuous cluster of containers, you hear the rustle of a jumpsuit and the sharp intake of breath. You pause and turn your attention to some crates opposite to where you'd heard the noise come from, giving them a few seconds of fake investigation before launching yourself towards the nook that Dalton had hidden himself in. Wah! Dalton, please calm down. I just want to talk to you, okay? Dalton! Okay. I promise, Cadet, I wouldn't be here if I didn't really need your help. But right now, Lieutenant Lord in charge of the ship, we're all in a huge amount of danger. And it's not just the commander and captain, it's all of us. We don't know what's going on with this, you gesture at the strange craft, thing. We don't even know if it's actually deactivated. We could still be in danger. How are we going to deal with it if half our crew is locked up and the other half is on guard duty? All I need is a little bit of your help. If I can prove Commander Quinn innocent, then that's one major blow to Lord's justification for this mutiny. After that, we can prove the captain innocent too. From there, no one on board will side with Lord. They'll know it'll be them up for execution as traitors. But I can't do this alone. That's why I need you. I know the chief's taught you a lot already. With your help, I can get this done before we can get anywhere near Europa.
Well, thank you, but
Dalton. You lay your hand on his shoulder. Please.
Well, Why do you want me, Lieutenant? I mean, are you sure? I'm just a cadet. I don't really know that much of anything. Are you sure it's my help you want? I just mean that maybe you should think about it is all. If that's okay.
Dalton.
Well, Lieutenant, it's you again. Do you still need my help? I mean, not that I won't help you if you need it. It's just that maybe there's someone else who could help you? Someone who isn't me?
No bias in the order of proving innocence, yeah.
I just think that I might not be who you want. I would though, if you needed it.
We could seek out the captain or Dylan. Not the captain. We probably wouldn't be able to get to the captain. And the captain, But the chief would be the other option here. But I think we can... God. Dalton... Yeah, I'm gonna try the Dalton route. Dalton, look. I know this is scary, but if we don't do this, then the whole ship is in danger. You're a good cadet. You do your best to do everything right, and it's got to be tough to know you're going against the chain of command. But we can't let Vanessa get away with this. There's too much at stake. You, me, everyone on board, we're all at risk. So I need your help, cadet. I don't have the skills to get this done without you.
Are you sure no one else can help? I just think that maybe you should ask someone else. I just don't really, don't.
The game likes to give you like 8 chances to change your mind on things. Dalton, come on. I get it, I really do. But I wouldn't be asking if I didn't think you could do this. I need your help, cadet. I'm certain I can't do this without you. Please. The game doesn't trust Dalton, yeah.
Okay, I'll help you, man. It's up to us, right? Everyone's counting on us.
You breathe a sigh of relief. For a moment you thought you weren't going to be able to convince Dalton, and if you couldn't, then things didn't bode well for you winning over the rest of the crew. Thanks, cadet. I knew I could count on you. You give Dalton a playful punch to his arm, glad to see a sense of optimism on his face, rather than the usual anxiety or stress.
So, what's the plan, Lieutenant? How are we gonna do it?
Well, the first thing we need to do is prove that Commander Quinn's no murderer. To do that, I need to get into the sickbay.
How are you going to get there? The ensigns are both in the foreside thoroughfare. They'll see you.
Same way I got in here, through the crawlways. You point towards the open hatch that you'd entered through.
Oh, but what about me?
Well, you're coming with me, cadet.
But what if the ensigns come in to check on me again? Ensign Kreese has been checking in regularly to make sure I'm fixing his Juno properly. If I'm not here, then he could...
Okay, cadet, I get what you're saying. It was a good point. If either ensign found that Dalton wasn't in the hangar anymore, and they'd not seen him leave, then it would instantly raise a lot of questions. Questions you couldn't trust Dalton to remain calm enough to answer if he was found.
Maybe you could figure out what you need, and then I could write it down for you, or I could send you a message on the...
Great idea. Raising your head above the storage crates, you check around to make sure you're both still alone in the hangar. As soon as you're confident that neither ensign has dropped in for a surprise catch-up on the status of the Juno, you launch yourself towards the area's entrance. Quickly, methodically, and remaining constantly vigilant for any sign that someone was coming, you open the storage lockers that house the hangar's emergency use spacesuits and grab their radios. Once you have them, you quickly close the doors on the lockers and head back to Dalton, placing one in his hand the moment you're with him.
Radios, ma'am?
That's right. Keep this switched on and tuned into this frequency. That way if there's anything I need help with, then I can call you. Just switch it off if either of the ensigns stops by though, alright?
Alright, gotcha.
Okay, cadet, I'll be in touch.
Yes, ma'am. Good luck.
You look towards the hangar entrance again to make sure no one's on their way down, before throwing a casual salute to Dalton, kicking off the hangar floor, and launching yourself directly towards the hatch. Once you reach it, you turn back and give Dalton a quick thumbs up, pulling yourself back into the crawlway as you do so. As soon as you're fully inside, you twist around and close the hatch door behind you. Radio in hand, you feel a lot more confident about your chances of saving Cassie and getting the ship out of Vanessa's clutches. Are you there, cadet? You release the push-to-talk button and are met with a second of static before Dalton's voice sounds over the tinny speaker.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you loud and clear.
Dalton's enthusiasm is infectious, and you crack a small smile. Good to hear it, cadet. Let's get to work. As you move away from the hangar, it doesn't take long for the effects of the ship's gravity net to return, and you transition from floating through the passage to resuming your slow and deliberate crawl. Your pace is reduced by the awkwardness of carrying the radio in one hand, its casing clunking against the crawlway with each shift forward you make. Despite this, you soon find yourself back in the lit junction that connects the assorted passages which snake throughout the ship's interior. Taking advantage of the larger area that you're now in, you shift from your hands and knees and sit back against a wall, rolling your neck and your shoulders to try to get rid of the mild cramping sensation you feel. You allow yourself a few minutes to let your mind wander as you idly stare at the moving shadow cast by the blades of the fan overhead. Your thoughts drift around a variety of subjects, all involving what you'll do next. Eventually, with a sigh, you bring the radio up in front of you. First, making sure that it's still on the frequency that you'd set it to in order to pair it to the one you'd left Dalton with, you then press the push-to-talk button. "Cadet, you there?" You release the button and wait in silence before trying again. "Cadet Grange, do you read me?" Your index finger rests on the button once more, and you're about to try for the third time, when suddenly the radio squawks into life. "Yes, yes, Lieutenant. It's me. I'm here. Sorry, I was just making sure there's no one around. I thought someone may have been coming down the stairs, but it wasn't anyone. It was just..." Closing your eyes and resting your head against the cool steel of the wall, you sigh loudly, letting Dalton carry on for a while before interrupting him. "Don't worry about it, Cadet. I'm just radioing in to tell you that I've arrived at a junction in the crawlways that's lit up. It has a fan running that I can see some light through. Any idea where I am?" "Oh, I think you might be... Just let me check. I think that, you're... There's no rush, Dalton." You tell him, pinching the bridge of your nose. "I've got it. Since you left the hangar through that hatch, the only place you could be is Maintenance Junction 72B. Which is?
So, the ship's full of these crawlways for the maintenance crews to access different areas and systems and things. They're a bit erratic, since the Gundogs built, all Swift-class ships, I guess, are built using modules stripped from lots of different decommissioned vessels."
If this was the chief, he'd be willing to sit through an impromptu lesson on the construction of Swift-class ships, but that was because you'd be too scared to risk interrupting her. "I just need to know where I am and where I can get to, Cadet. Which room has this fan in?"
So sorry, Lieutenant. I was just...
"Dalton."
"Yes, ma'am. You're in a maintenance hub. They're designed to be points where maintenance crews doing maintenance can either take breaks or stash extra equipment. The fan doesn't connect to any rooms, just the air ducts. It's illuminated, so the area can act as a little rest spot, too."
You look up at the fan and exhale in frustration. You thought you'd find an easy way to access the rest of the ship without getting spotted, but instead it was just a convenience for mechanics. How is that not a way to get around the ship without being spotted? What? Right, okay. You pause to think, letting Dalton wait for you to start talking again as you begin mulling over what to do next. "So, from where I am now, which parts of the ship can I get to?"
"Well, that depends, ma'am."
"On what, Cadet?"
It depends on what you were planning to do, Lieutenant. What's your plan for proving Commander Gwyn and the Captain innocent?"
You sit in silence as you mull over Dalton's question. Although it frustrated you slightly to have Dalton asking questions of you, it was certainly a valid one. You'd got this far knowing that you had to prove Cassie and the Captain innocent to have a chance of dealing with Vanessa's mutiny, but this was the first time you'd actually stopped to consider how you'd achieve that. With one hand still holding the radio, you use the other to massage your temples as you start trying to think of how you could achieve your goal. "Cadet."
"Yes, ma'am?"
"I'll be back in touch soon. Stand by."
"Oh, yes, Lieutenant."
Okay. Well, our protagonist is taking a break, and so am I. This will have turned out to be a short stream, just about an hour and a half, but that's when I happen to get live, and time's running short. I will try to continue this on Thursdays. There's a chance that I end up having at least an every other week event shifting into the Thursday slot. In that case, I will try to stream Gundog on Mondays or Tuesdays, Usonian time, which would be like, I don't know, middle of the night, early morning, Tuesday or Wednesday for y'all German folks or European friends. But we'll see. as usual, I seldom keep to schedules, so I don't try to set them for streams. I know that's not ideal, but it's kind of where I'm at right now. I am going to try to stream more of John Whitehead's Buffy fanfiction on Sunday. That will be like Sunday afternoon, evening for you in time zones closer to GMT. It'd be like Sunday morning USA. Whenever my next stream is, whenever I see you all again, live with honor, and your heart is unassailable.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. It's my time, watch me build another life. Find another space, explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go. It's a new adventure. On a new adventure. Adventure.